Hey y'all, it's me, Alex from the Longest Cosplays. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Today is Tuesday. It is currently 6:30 p.m. 2 days ago, the first episode of Lanterns came out. And pretty much since then, I've been getting people asking me about my thoughts, because I'm a Green Lantern fan, if you couldn't tell. So to get that out of the way, I liked the first episode. Without saying anything, I have major concerns for the show, but I'm not gonna let anything stop me from enjoying it right now. I need to see the rest of the show in order to get like a full proper opinion. I liked Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. I think he's doing a really good job so far, again. And Aaron Pierre as John Stewart. I think that is probably one of the best modern day casting choices for a comic book show or movie, I guess, because he's in Man of Tomorrow. And I really like the banter between them. It's ripped straight out of the Bronze Age, when John Stewart first, debuted. And speaking of John Stewart, today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite John Stewart covers in my collection. I pulled out 10 of them. And this is kind of like a spur-of-the-moment thing. I didn't really plan to do this today. I just kind of thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I want to have another... I want to have, another kind of video, alongside my Longest Comics Presents. So, if you're familiar with my channel at all, or my Instagram for that matter too, I guess this is an extended Longest Spotlight video, because that's exactly what I would do for that series of short videos. Is just show off 10 or 12 covers featuring a character or a team. So I guess this is an extended form of that. So, but yeah, I just want to talk about 10 of my favorite John Stewart covers that I own. And I say that because there's a lot of great ones out there. Sadly, I do not own everything. And I think it's Green Lantern War Journal number 8. That is going to be an honorable mention. I'll put it probably up here. Can't remember who did the cover off the top of my head, but it's got John Stewart in his current costume, and he's in space, and it's an amazing, just a beautiful cover. Featuring what is now, I think, one of my new favorite, or probably my favorite, John Stewart costume. And yes, that's including, the iconic one from the DC animated universe. I like the current costume more. I said what I said. Anyway, let's get right into it, and speaking of the new animated costume here, this is Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 2. This cover was penciled by, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these names in this video, so please bear with me. Rafa Sandoval. He did the pencils. Jordi Tarragona did the inks, and Tomo Mori. Jesus. Tomo Mori did the colors. Just a great cover that prioritizes John Stewart. He's got the rest of the Green Lantern Corps behind him. And that's kind of going to be like a main theme here. And I'm actually going to move these, because it's going to be way easier for me to hide the suspense. You just saw the back of that last one. But anyway, it's going to hide the suspense of the actual covers that I have chosen. But this next one here is Green Lantern Mosaic. This is issue 11. This cover is done by Mitch Bird. And if you haven't read Green Lantern Mosaic, what are you doing? It starts off in Green Lantern Volume 3, issue, I want to say 14. I could be wrong on that. It's either issue 12 or issue 14. Either way, it's an amazing storyline, and it's it ends, I think it's 14 through 17 in Green Lantern Volume 3, and then it jumps off into its own 12 issue, or I think it's like 18 issues actually, 18 issue series. And this is single-handedly one of the greatest John Stewart stories of all time. It goes off to another planet, and I won't say anything more than that, because it's really great, and I kind of want to do a whole video dedicated to this, so I want to reread it. But Mitch Bird cover, again, this is just, it's such a crazy, like, and surreal cover, and kind of painful to look at, in, like, a good way. It's very creepy, and let's take some time to appreciate this costume here, because this did not last very long. Next up, we have, this is Green Lantern Corps, Future's End from the New 52. Francis Portela and Tomo Mori did the cover on this. I want to say that Francis Portela was, like, the penciler slash inker or something, and then Tomo Mori did the colors. But this is a lenticular cover. If you know me, you know that I love these lenticular covers. And so when you get John Stewart in his standard Green Lantern uniform, and then you move it over just a little bit, and I'm probably not going to catch this very well, but you get to you see the his Indigo Lantern, or his Indigo Tribe uniform, and I think that's really cool. Am I gonna be able to show it off? There you go. You can see it a lot better there. It is Indigo uniform. Like if I'm looking at this from my own perspective, it's showing the Green Lantern uniform. But I love these. I could sit around and mess with that all day. If you know me, you know I love lenticular covers, especially from this time period. And I'm actively trying to get most of them. I think there's like, I own quite a few of them. I want to get more, but I don't want to get everything just yet, because a lot of it is stuff that I don't have interest in right now. So I'm, most of them. This right here is Green Lantern Corps, Volume 3, Issue 10. This cover is done by Fernando Pasarin? Either way. And Scott Hanna did the inks. But Fernando, he is not an artist I usually like. Usually. I don't really like, for some reason to me his art feels like a little uncanny, and I don't particularly like his style, but this cover I think is his best work. You get that bottoms up shot from, or you get that like ground up shot looking down or looking up at John Stewart, feeling guilty because he killed a Green Lantern, or so he did. In this storyline, and if you haven't read the Green Lantern Corps series from the New 52, I highly recommend it. It's a very John Stewart-centric book. You get a lot of him in there. Meanwhile, the previous Green Lantern Corps run before this was like a Guy Gardner book, so you get your John Stewart fix here, and it's amazing. And speaking of that previous Green Lantern Corps run, we have Green Lantern Corps. This is Volume 2, Issue 61. And I know I said it's a Guy Gardner-centered book, but these last few issues, you kind of get more of the Corps in general. Or you get more members that shine through. So Kyle Rayner is a prominent figure in this era because he became the White Lantern sometime recently here. Either way, Tyler Kirkham did the pencils. Matt Bonning? I'm gonna correct myself in the editing. Matt Banning did the inks, and Nay Ruffino, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Nay Ruffino did the colors. And I think this is just an absolute badass image of John Stewart. I mean, usually when you think of John Stewart, you think, he's a badass. You see him in the DC animated universe, you saw him in Static Shock and Justice League Unlimited. And he's just an absolute badass. And this kind of radiates that energy, especially because he's wearing the costume. Next up, we have Green Lantern, this is Volume 6, Issue 10. We got Bernard Chang and Alex Sinclair who did this cover. And this run, I'm not particularly fond of this run. This is where you get the introduction of Teen Lantern Kelly Quintella. And yeah, I'm not too fond of this. I want to go back and kind of give it like a proper chance, because I read this run pretty much right after I was done getting through all of Volume 3 and not all of Volume 3. Sorry, I had already finished Volumes 4, 5. I had caught up with the Grant Morrison stuff, which I love the Grant Morrison run on Green Lantern. Say what you will about Grant Morrison, but I love their work on that, on the character. And I'd pretty much finished almost, I think, the entire Silver Age at this point, and all the New 52 stuff. So coming into this one, I wasn't really like... I think my expectations were a bit higher than they should have been, and so I was very disappointed by this book, and so I kind of want to go back and reread this run, but that doesn't stop me from loving this cover. You get the ascension of John Stewart. John Stewart kind of goes through a weird character arc in this one, and it doesn't really impact anything. Like, everything that happens in this run towards John Stewart, you don't really... This is a run you don't really need to read. But a run you should read is Green Lantern Volume 3. This is issue 156. Ariel Olivetti. Jesus. Ariel Olivetti did this cover. And this is when John Stewart comes back as a Green Lantern. If you know, in the like mid-ish 90s, John Stewart was handicapped. He had joined the Dark Stars for a brief period of time, and then got handicapped. And through some very strange and poorly aged comic book logic, John Stewart is cured of his crippledness, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I mean that quite literally. Cured. It's, again, it doesn't age too well, but this is the issue where he finally comes back as a Green Lantern. And I think this is one of the first times he wears this costume in the comic books. I've been trying to figure that out for a while, like on and off, like when he debuts the DC animated costume, like in the books, because this was a costume like that was created for the Justice League show. This didn't exist prior, and so I've been trying to figure out when this costume first appears. I want to say it's in this issue, if not maybe a little bit beforehand or something. I don't know. If you know, please let me know, because that is like a little itch I've been trying to scratch for like on and off, like I said, for years, and I just haven't been able to do so. Either way, a beautiful cover, and you get the hero reborn, and I think it's just an absolute powerful, simplistic John Stewart cover that I think everyone should have in their collection. Speaking of Mosaic, we have Green Lantern Volume 3. This is issue 16. This cover is done by the legendary Mark D. Bright. If you know me, if you've seen my channel before, I give this guy endless praise, and I really wish I changed out the bag before this, because that sticker is covering up the mouth, and it's gonna annoy me. Either way, I mean, this is still just a cool cover. Again, badass John Stewart. And it is confirming that I was in fact correct the first time. This storyline begins in issue 14, and ends at 17, and then jumps into its own 18-issue series. But Mark D. Bright, again, I give that guy endless praise. He is one of my favorite Green Lantern artists, especially of the 90s. I love the way he draws Hal Jordan. Pretty much I love the way he draws everybody, Green Lantern especially. Again, Hal Jordan. But, of course, I had to get a Mark D. Bright cover in here somewhere, and this was the one. And again, you get that, like late 80s, early 90s costume that changed throughout the Mosaic run. And frankly, I like this costume a lot. I think it's vastly underrated. And I honestly hope we get to see it again in the future, maybe as like a cameo or in a vision or something, but I don't know. Stepping in to the Copper Age, we have Green Lantern. This is issue 185, cover by Dave Gibbons, and this is, I mean, how cool is that? You get the special origin issue of John Stewart. Now, obviously we know John Stewart's issue, but this is kind of like a retelling, like a proper retelling, that kind of dives into who he is as a character. And this is still when he's wearing, like, the standard classic Green Lantern uniform. He hasn't changed it at this point. And it's so cool. Excuse me. It's so cool seeing John Stewart in the Green Lantern mask, because that never happens. That, like, I think it's only really in this run where John Stewart wears a mask. And even then, he doesn't wear it for very long. He wears it maybe for, like, 10 or so issues. And then, he didn't even wear it much in his first appearance. But again, he's bursting through the power battery, and he's ready to kick some ass, and I love the line work in this. It's such a good... This is one of my favorite covers of, like, 80s Green Lantern, and I'm being serious. And I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I should do this one, or there was another one that I'm forgetting. But there was another one that's like he's into silhouette, and like, you know it's John Stewart, but like you can't see that it's John Stewart. And that's the only reason this one won out, really, because you know this is so much cooler when you actually get to see it. And then the best John Stewart cover, and one of my favorite comic book covers of all time. I actually just drew a homage to this cover, which I will put right here or something like that. I rarely ever show off art on this channel, or my art specifically on this channel, but this is appropriate. And of course, it's another excuse for me to show this book off, and so I'm going to. You know what it is. It's Green Lantern, Volume 2, Issue 87, first appearance of John Stewart, Neil Adams cover. I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said already about this cover? It is, without a doubt, one of the single most important storylines in all of comic books, this Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil run. And this is, without a doubt, I think, I really want to, I'm going to put my foot down and say I think this is the most famous cover from this run right now. Because of the show, Lanterns. Which is taking a lot from this issue, which is really cool to see. Whatever I may say about the show later on, I have to say that it is really cool that they are paying attention to the origin of John Stewart, and they are not messing around with it. And I think it's cool that they're actually adapting this a little bit. It's truly, I mean, this is one of the greatest comic book covers of all time. In my opinion, at least. And it's so important to superhero history and DC's history. And there you go, again, he's not wearing the mask, because he doesn't want to hide his identity. That's like his whole thing. The reason he doesn't like these masks, because they cover up, you know, the face, or whatever. You don't get to see the man underneath. John Stewart wants people to know that it's him under the Green Lantern costume. And it's just one of the most amazing stories ever. And if you ever do read this, please tell me how you enjoy it, or what you think of it. And if you're a big John Stewart fan, I'm gonna put this over here just so I can have a display for the end of the video, which will be coming up in a moment. But if you are a John Stewart fan, please tell me what you think of this. Or even if you're not a John Stewart, you don't have to be a John Stewart, like, fanatic to enjoy this video, but, what do you think of the books that I showed off? Again, these are just some of my favorite John Stewart covers that I have in my collection. Again, there are many others out there that I sadly don't have. Again, Green Lantern War Journal, issue 8, that's like an honorable mention. That one would have been on this list had I owned it. Yeah. So, congratulations to DC Studios for releasing episode 1 of Lanterns. Again, I really enjoyed it. Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, seriously, he's doing a great job. He has the right look, he has the right attitude, and I truly cannot wait to see more of him in the DCU. So, yeah. And I don't normally like making videos, or any kind of content for that matter, that goes around like a trend or anything, but this is something I deeply care about, so I'm making an exception here. I love these characters. You know, Hal Jordan is obviously my favorite Green Lantern, but John Stewart, man, I love him so much. I watched all the Justice League cartoons when I was getting into Green Lantern a while back, and I've just been, you know, I care so much about these characters, and John Stewart is one of my favorite members. I think he has some of the most compelling stories of the entire Corps. They all do. They all have amazing and wonderful stories, but John Stewart especially. When he's written really well, he is written really goddamn well. Again, Green Lantern Mosaic and Green Lantern War Journal. Please read those. I'm not like a reading recommendations kind of guy, but because I'm not usually great at them, because I only know what I like. But Green Lantern Mosaic and Green Lantern War Journal, and then obviously read 87 over here, his first appearance. Yeah, please read those. They're truly amazing, and they have wonderful covers. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching. I know it's kind of an unscripted one, but it still means a lot that you sat here and watched this. Watched me ramble for about 20-ish minutes. So, yeah. Yeah. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye-bye now.